Hello and welcome to our today's webinar, in which we will talk about the path to an identity-first enterprise. My name is Manuela Ollhäuser. I'm marketing manager at the IC Consult Group. And with me today, we have our presenters, Tim Lotter, Senior Alliance Solution Engineer at Okta, and Joachim Geiger, our Okta Service Owner at IC Consult. Before we start with the presentation, just some quick technical details from my side. You will all be on mute during the whole webinar. So if you have a question, please type in your questions in the chat and we will answer them then at the end of the webinar. We will record the session, so you will all receive an email with the link to this recording within the next few days. And for your information, we will run a short poll during this webinar, so we would appreciate your participation. So therefore, just tick the box with the right answer for you. And yeah, that's it from my side. Then I hand over to you, Tim.
Yeah, good morning, good day, good evening to everyone who is joining us today to the path to an identity-first enterprise. I'm Tim Lotter. I'm from Okta, and I have the pleasure to tell you a little bit about what we are doing in the identity space. The topics for today is in kind of 4 different chapters. First, we want to talk about why go identity first, which identities and how to protect them. Then we take a closer look at the identity maturity curve, where we also prepared a poll. Then we take a look at Okta as a central management and control plane. And finally, a short demo about the Okta FastPass. And then I will hand it over to Joachim Geiger, who will tell you more about the managed service offering from IC Consult. So let's get started with the first topic. Why go identity first? Well, in today's world, the IT stack is in a transition. A couple of years ago, organizations used applications from only a few vendors, and they only had to manage their employees. Nowadays, the world has changed completely. With the adoption of cloud services, companies are also facing new challenges. So they have to manage not only their employees, but also their partners and contractors who needs access to their IT stacks. But we also want to enable our workforce to be able to use the best apps so that organizations can be more productive. And with the Corona and all the new challenges, we also positioned in the new digital world. The enterprises are experiencing some new treasure points. On one hand, we want to be more agile so we can adapt to all the changes. But on the other hand, we are facing new security challenges, especially with the adoption of cloud services, which can no longer protected by a normal VPN or firewalls. On the other hand, we want to provide a very good user experience, because if we don't have a good user experience, it's bad to hire talents and get people to work at our companies. And the central piece is actually the identity. Our employees, our users, our contractors, our partners, because everything is related to identity. Of course, the user experience, but also the agility to work with the best tools which are available on the market, and the security, because the new attack vector is the identity. And if credentials are stolen or some other identity thefts happen, then attackers can gain access to all the services which are used by a company. So it's very important to protect our identities and have a clear strategy how to approach that. When we take a look at the traditional identity solutions, then we see that they have some challenges, and they are not in mind with all the modern business needs. So they cannot innovate faster. It's not that easy to integrate all the applications. And the modern need is also about having seamless integrations with all the new IT and business technology applications that are adopted over the time. So what we see in the market is that organizations take a completely new view on identity. Back a few years ago, identity was a pure tool decision, but nowadays it has become a strategic decision, because when you introduce a new identity management system, it's a project which does not run for 1 or 2 years. It's a strategic decision that will be valuable for the next 2, 3, 5, or even 10 years. Because as you adopt more cloud services and you move to the cloud, or you still have some on-prem software solutions, it's important that you can integrate them, but you can also cope with all the new changes that are coming. So it's important that you have an identity solution which is also scaling with your requirements and can adopt. The next topic is which identities? Well, in every organization, of course, we have our employees, but we also have partner companies which access our applications. But if you have a consumer-facing website or any consumer-facing applications, then you also have to manage your customer identities. And what do they have in common? Well, all of them need access to some applications. So we have some more dots. But just the applications do not only authenticate to their users, there's also communication between the application. So we can see this as a machine-to-machine communication. And within an organization, next to applications, you also come from different end devices. So typically, you will work from your laptop, and on the consumer face, you will see more and more that the identities are interacting with their smartphone. But that's not all. There's also some infrastructure, may it run on-prem in your own data center or in some of the public clouds. And all these different connections, it's really hard to have a clear management and control plane. And we at Okta, we are one central component which connects all those different identities to make sure that the right people can get access to the right applications. The next question is how to protect the identities. Well, we want to take a closer look for the employees, and the employee itself is using either a smartphone or a laptop. That is actually the identity. So the identity is a combination of the user plus the device, because just having the user is not enough to make sure that's the right person. And so we have ways to differentiate if it's the real user or an attacker. An employee does typically access either applications or some infrastructure. And in the terms of security, there is 2 big use cases that we cover. One is the access management, and the other one is the user lifecycle management. And the user lifecycle management is very important, especially as you move into the cloud, because when you just have the access management, often means that the user does not exist in the target applications. So to provide access management, you first have to create the users in the applications. But on top of that, we do not only manage the users, but we can also manage even more aspects, such as assigning licenses or even doing deep provisioning. In terms of the access management, a model that is widely adopted across all companies is Zero Trust Asset Strategy. And on a very high level, it's about giving the right people to the right resources, depending on the right context, from anywhere and every device, the access, and continually assess if it's still the same person or if there's some hacker or some hijacking. And across this whole stack, we want to do this with the least friction as possible to improve the user experience and to make sure that our employees, partners, and customers are very productive. So when we take a look at the access component, the first is the identity. And as we learned, the identity is a combination of the user plus the device. So in terms of a device identity, we can differentiate between it's a device that has already been used in the past for, let's say, an employee, but it can be also a registered or even a company-owned device, so that you have complete control over the device, and you can make sure that the latest patch level is available or the firewall is in a good state, and all that information can be included to define the access rules. So in terms of the access, we do not just say, yes, someone can access it, or we deny access, or we prompt for an access. What we actually do is we include a risk score that is calculated within Okta, but it also includes some external risk components, and then policies define how an access should be available or used, and then the authorization engine at the end decides how the user has to authenticate himself to access resources. What we include in the access pipeline is different context information. So the context information of a user, and with Okta, we can get this information directly from an HR system, because within an HR system, you have the information if someone is still at the company, what role they are, what cost center they are, and all that information can be used as a context to only provide access for the right people. In terms of the devices, a typical use case is that you have some business critical applications that have sensitive data, and you only want to allow from business managed devices the access. We can include context from location. Let's say someone is signing in from New York and an hour later in Berlin, which is not possible, or even some network context information, such as someone is connecting to from a well-known company or corporate network. And what we can protect are different resources. So we heard that we access typically apps and infrastructure, but we at Okta, we can also protect the APIs, and we can do so because we use a lot of open standards, such as SAML, OpenID Connect. You can see it on the slide here. But we also have all the integrations for all those protocols and different stacks. But that's not all. As the attack vectors become even more sophisticated, it's also important to orchestrate the information across the whole IT stack, so we can also be integrated into your existing SIEM systems, and we provide the APIs to remediate the attacks if something is detected. The next topic is the identity maturity curve. And what we see in the market is that there is 4 different steps which companies can be kind of see how their maturity is. Stage 0 is that you have fragmented identities. That means you have different stores where the identities are disconnected. Those are typical Active Directory or LDAP services. You don't have any integration into your SaaS and cloud applications. So if someone is leaving the company and you don't have it integrated, that means they potentially can still access the cloud applications, even though they are no longer in your organization. And you have different passwords across the different applications. So the very first step that organizations do is to have a unified identity and access management system. That means they have single sign-on across all the IT applications. Single sign-on allows them to add multi-factor authentication depending on the context of the application, and it allows you to have a unified management and control plane to apply policies. The next step is to add contextual access. So depending on different context information that we discussed in the previous slide, you can better control and define the policies. And one big advantage of Okta is that we have a huge ecosystem. So if you have an existing IT stack, we can pull in risk signals from different sources to make sure that the access policies are applied to provide the best user experience. And finally, the adaptive workforce. So to improve the user experience, more and more organizations are moving to a frictionless password. So that means you no longer have the challenges of resetting passwords. And it's also the foundation for introducing more zero trust capabilities and to even integrate with your SIEM or other systems. So you have a full view about all the identity related actions across your IT stack. And we also want to do a poll about this 4 different stages. And we want to know how do you think is your current company related? So you should get the poll with the 4 different questions. Please answer them now. So, Manuela, can you tell me when the poll is finished?
I would just leave it open for a few more seconds.
All right.
Everybody that hasn't voted can still do that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm curious for the result.
Still coming in some.
Okay, great.
Okay. Then I will close it. So here are the results.
Okay. So I hope we can see the result on my screen. So the majority is in stage 1, was close to 60% of already having unified IAM. Or we also have some which already use some contextual access, and we have some adapted workforce. I hope that you have already adopted the passwordless because that is a very good user experience that we will also see in a few minutes on the demo part. All right, let's move on. So the next part is Okta as a central management and control plane. Before I want to go into details, first I want to give you a short introduction to Okta. The vision of Okta is to allow everyone to safely use any technology in this ever-changing and accelerating world. And we do that across all the identities from employees, partners, and customer identities. So when you use online services such as the Adobe Cloud and you sign in, there's actually Okta running in the background. Or if you sign into some MGM hotels, for instance, there's also Okta in the background. So you potentially already use Okta in some consumer-facing applications. We at Okta are over 5,000 dedicated employees, and we only do one topic, and that is identity as a service. And that really shows how critical this topic is, and we are still growing. I think we are now 5,700 employees and still rapidly growing. We have worldwide over 15,000 innovative customers across the globe, across all the segments, from small organizations up to large organizations with hundred thousands of identities. We do billions of monthly authentications, and that also shows how organizations trust us, because if you as an end user cannot sign in to your workforce application, but if you also cannot sign in to book your flights or do some online shopping, then there is a real drawback in your business. And the trust that we have from the Okta side shows that we can deliver that. That Okta is the #1 identity platform is also reflected in the Forrester Wave, the Gartners, and some analysts. You cannot find us in the top right corner. And the big differentiator from the Okta identity platform are 4 topics. One is the extensibility. Okta provides a lot of functionality out of the box, so you can implement projects faster, but we provide a lot of extensibility points, and we even provide a workflow engine that allows you to customize business processes. We have a huge integration network of over 7,300 applications. That means you can do the integrations faster because most of them are Okta verified. So we make sure that they are available in a way that we also test it and make sure they are working. And across all those applications, you can have single sign-on, but you can also add multi-factor authentication by just selecting a checkbox. We are a neutral platform, so we work very good with other technology companies, and that is also a big advantage for most organizations because most organizations use software solutions from different vendors. And it's one unified platform. Unified because what we can see on the next slide is that we have one identity platform to solve nearly every use case. The platform itself is composed of a lot of platform services. So we have services for managing users in the we have a workflow engine, we have integrations, and you can also control everything by APIs. But at the end of the day, what you license and buy is different packages to solve use cases such as introducing single sign-on, multi-factor authentication, lifecycle management, or just a directory in the cloud. The next part is a short demo for Okta FastPass. Okta FastPass is our solution for passwordless sign-in and also providing a sign-in that is much more user-friendly. The big differentiator for Okta FastPass is that it's available across all the different platforms. So for the Android and iOS, we have smartphone applications, and for Windows and macOS, we have agents. And the agent allows us to sign in seamlessly without depending on an external device. So we see now the demo for a MacBook and also how it works on an iPhone. So when I switch over to my demo environment, let me show you first the MacBook experience. So what you can see here is the typical sign-in mask of Okta. I'm sorry, that's in German. When you sign in, you can see there's two different ways. One way is the button with sign in with Okta FastPass, and the other way is the traditional way of entering a username, password, and other MFA factors. What I want to show you is at the sign in with Okta FastPass. Okta FastPass works because I have an agent on my device. So here's the agent, and the user that I will sign in is already enrolled on this device. That will be the user Max Wonder. And during the enrollment process, there's also a tight linking between my device and Okta. In the background, there will be a certificate deployed, so a hacker cannot easily steal the Okta Verify that is installed on this device here. The sign-in experience is very user-friendly. I just click on sign in with Okta FastPass. This will communicate with the local agent, and I have an additional step that I prompt for a biometric authentication. On the MacBook, it's the Touch ID. On the Windows 10, it's the Windows Hello. So I click on the Touch ID here as an additional step. And you can see I will be successfully signed in to my Okta dashboard. And from here, I can access all the applications. So the big advantage is the user does not have to type in a username. I don't have to type in a password. I can no longer forget the password. I don't have to do some password recovery or call the help desk if I have challenges. And it's even more secure because we are shifting away from the password, something that we know, to something that we have, that was the enrollment of the agent on this device, and something that I am, that was the biometric factor. So how does this experience looks on a smartphone? I recorded a small video, so let me play this here. So here you can see a smartphone application. This could be also, let's say, your Salesforce, your Office 365, whatsoever. And you click on the button Sign in with Okta FastPass. As you do so, you will automatically be redirected to the Okta Verify app on your iPhone or Android. Then we have an additional MFA step by checking the Face ID or the Touch ID. And when I continue with the video, you can see that I'm verified myself. I go back to the application and I'm in. I don't have to enter a username. I don't have to enter a password. It's a seamless user experience. Just smile into your camera and you're signed in. But that's not all we can do with Okta FastPass. The agent can also be integrated with your management tool for the devices, such as Intune, VMware Workspace ONE, and Jamf. And we can check if such a device is managed. And if so, we provide this information to the policies. Then you can say like, oh yeah, we have this critical application and we only want to allow the access from a corporate managed device. On top of that, it does not require any on-prem component. So if you want to move away from Active Directory and some other on-prem components, this works completely seamless, especially when you are not on a Windows machine. So you probably know that on a Windows machine, when you signed into a domain, you can also have desktop sign-in experience, but that is only limited to the Windows devices. With the Okta FastPass, you have that experience across all the devices, and it's supported for managed and unmanaged devices. So let's imagine you have some partners which need access to your IT systems or your applications, and you cannot put the management system on their solution because it's either they have their own management system running, and you cannot put two systems that manage the devices on your machine. But with the Okta FastPass approach, you can actually put that action next to a management solution, so you have a better control and insight about the devices that the users are using. And it's a really good passwordless user experience because it's running on the same device. So let's say if I sign in on a MacBook here, I don't need my smartphone. That means if someone has forgotten his smartphone, or you don't allow the users to have a smartphone, or they might even don't have a corporate smartphone, then they are still able to sign in by using this solution. And that's from the Okta side. Is there any questions so far? Otherwise, I will hand it over to Joachim Geiger.
No questions so far.
Okay.
Okay, so then hello everybody, and thank you, Tim, so far. My name is Joachim Geiger. I'm a senior consultant at IC Consult and service owner for Okta here at our IC Consult group. And I would like to tell you a little bit about our offering with Okta. Okta is a managed service, and also about our managed services in general. First, let me explain a bit more about managed services and what managed services bring to the table and how they can benefit you. As a managed service provider, we have offerings, of course, for all of the leading IAM solutions, but today we are talking solely about Okta. A fully managed service helps you with our experienced product experts, which can help you find the perfect solution which best fits your needs and particular environment, processes, and whatever else. Of course, we have the comprehensive knowledge about the products, the vendors. We are an Okta Gold partner, well on the way to becoming an Okta Platinum partner really soon. We have over 40 colleagues located around the globe in the US and Europe, which are certified in Okta and have a vast array of experience in Okta projects and Okta integrations. So with a managed service, we provide you with a complete IAM platform without you needing to build your own architecture. We help you with the planning and the implementation together with our product experts. We also take over the licensing, the implementation, the architecture, the design, and the integration, and you get all of this from us as a single source. So with this, you can quickly reap those benefits, and especially with Okta, because it is a cloud infrastructure, very quickly. Of course, this also complies with highest security and quality standards. We are certified, for example, in TSEX and bring all those necessary certifications along, for example, in the automotive sector, which are needed to be compliant with the services. With a managed service, you also have plannable monthly costs in regards to one-time high investments. So you have, based on the contract, for example, time and material based costs, which are easily plannable and provide you with a better long-term understanding of the cost sector. Of course, this is also available for other IAM vendors, but today we are talking about Okta. For our support, we also offer, depending on your needs, up to 24/7 support with on-call support, however this is needed. You have a dedicated service delivery manager who's your single point of contact within our organization, who helps you with the planning, who helps you with any issues, and is your one-stop source for everything regarding your project and your managed service. Also, because Okta is a cloud platform, you will continuously benefit from all new functions and all of the new versions that are being deployed. Our experts are continually taking part in certifications, trainings, and so on to be on par with any new developments here. And of course, then bringing them to your table and therefore providing you with a long-term benefit in optimizing your processes or introducing you to new functionality with which may be able to drive your business even further. So the next thing is you may be unsure if a managed service is right for you. So therefore, we have some 7 reasons why you should choose a managed service and how it can help you. The first one is less stress for your staff. It can help you across all of your internal teams, whether it be operation, maintenance, support, documentation, helping you reduce the amount of work being used here, because that's all being offloaded to us. We provide you with those managed service with all of the operations and maintenance you need. We also do the documentation, so you will get provided with extensive documentation of the implemented solution, but also during operation you will get a system manual, and for everything that will be occurring there, we will also have a documentation that's also for us internally, but also for you and your own internal colleagues as well. So you also get a seamless integration of best-of-breed components, of course, tailored to your individual requirements, whether it, for example, be workforce or customer identity, and we are ensuring you with a seamless integration along the way. Like I mentioned earlier, this all with a very high level of security, with an advanced protection of your critical data, Okta, of course, as cloud platform is fully encrypted, and there is no possibility for anyone to any malicious intent here. Of course, this is also because it is cloud-based, always state-of-the-art. We have the experienced staff on our end. If there are any issues, we have this 24/7 support dependent on your needs. And since we are in very close and very good partnership with Okta, we also have the direct access to the vendor. So should there be any need to have some direct access to those at Okta, we have the direct contacts here. So we also provide you with seamless reporting and end-to-end compliance. A big part of our day-to-day business is monitoring, documentation, and the auditability. We will provide you with regular reports about your infrastructure, about our activities, about the daily operation. We can fully do the monitoring for your environment, set up automated monitoring solutions. Like I mentioned earlier, we will also provide you with the extensive documentation for everything that has been deployed in your environment, and of course the compliance with legal, industry-specific or even country-specific requirements, like I mentioned earlier, for example, in the automotive sector. So another key benefit is the flexibility and scalability. The flexibility on our end is the service scope, the runtime or licensing. Even if you already have a managed service provided by us, we can easily scale that service or that scope dependent on your requirements, include new systems, do new integrations, expand the support, for example, from an 8 to 5 to a 24/7. We will also do and assist you with the licensing, and since this being a cloud-based platform, again, this can be done almost in real time, and the immediate and compliant adjustment of additional services, locations, growing or decreasing employee numbers make it very easy for us to adjust the service dependent on your needs. So one of the benefits, of course, of the cloud-based platform is the prevention of the high one-off investments in hard and software. Since that is not needed, you don't need anything additionally that needs to be installed on-prem. Like mentioned earlier, you have the predictable monthly install payments dependent on your contract, can be either fixed price, can be time and material. However, that's organized depending on your scope, depending on your integration, but entirely transparent and easily predictable. And the protection of equity, capital, and creation for free and further investments. Like mentioned earlier, this is always up to date. You will get every new version. You will benefit from every new version and release of Okta in that case. And we will help you best benefit of those new features. We will inform you about them and take measures to adjust your processes and your business needs to provide you really with a benefit that helps you further securing and expanding your environment. So let us go to our Okta Managed Service offering in particular. So a lot of these points are ones I've already mentioned. What we especially want to provide you with our Okta Managed Service offering is a one-stop solution. So that means we will provide you with everything from the licensing over the design phase, the implementation to the deployment, and of course, the operation as well from one single source. Since Okta being such an open and accessible platform means that it's very fast in its deployment. So typically with a smaller installation, it can be set up in something like 8 weeks. And we have dedicated developer days, which are part of our Okta managed service offerings, to help you with integrating additional applications and also new features. So that's also inside this one package. Of course, this is also state of the art, so you will benefit of every new version. The very big factor for us is the dedicated contact person. Like I said earlier, the personal service delivery manager, who is your one-stop source for the complete project. So this person will be your contact from the start, from the licensing to the implementation, and even when the go live has happened and you are in the operation, in the day-to-day business, will also help you with anything you need. So no need to contact any additional people. So the other points, like mentioned earlier, we offer up to 24/7 support with our team that's located around the globe. We can automate the service monitoring for you. We can provide you with ticketing systems, and we do the incident and problem management. So here's a quick look at the Okta technology and solutions landscape. A lot of this already got mentioned by Tim, so let's just get quickly over this. The very important things like the multi-factor authentication, which of course can lead to something like Okta FastPass, a really very convenient and really very elegant passwordless experience. You have the extensive app integration network, which makes it easy to onboard new applications or also onboard on-premise legacy applications. Of course, the whole lifecycle management for your users, whether they be workforce or SIAM, that is all possible here. So let us take a quick look at our go live process for this offering. Like I mentioned, this will cover your whole IAM journey, your cloud journey, as we like to call it. We will do the planning with you. At first, there will be a kickoff meeting to discuss what is the entire intended outcome for the project. We will do planning workshops together with you to properly lay out the time frame and get everybody on board who needs to be involved in the process. We will, of course, hold weekly meetings where we will discuss the progress and do any adjustments if they may be necessary. And this will all be monitored in a project plan, where we then go to the design, where we do the technical workshops, if necessary, with your teams that may be involved, with your technical experts or application owners. We will do the application workshops for the integrations or design workshops if we have anything additionally, like, for example, a portal that needs to be designed. Of course, with Okta, there's a lot that's very much configurable to your liking. For example, the whole experience can be very much customized and tailored to whatever need can be integrated in your, for example, existing customer portal, or if you have any B2B users, for example, in that portal. Of course, all of this will be documented in detail up for your review before we then go into the implementation phase, where we do the setup for the Okta tenant. We will set up a test instance, do the application integration from the Okta integration network there. We'll set up multi-factor, if applicable, do any configuration for any mobile devices, do initial user imports, whether they would be from any existing, for example, Active Directories, Azure Directories, LDAPs, and so on. All of this will be done by our certified Okta professionals, which have long time experience with other projects. Then, of course, once this implementation is done, we will do the deployment. We will support, schedule, and coordinate this, of course, together with you. We will do a user acceptance test before the actual go live, then the post go live support, and of course, again, the documentation for the whole process and also for your end users as a source for training and internal knowledge transfers. But since the journey doesn't stop at the go live, you will also get the operations from us. Like I mentioned earlier, the up to 24/7 support. We will do any system maintenance if there should occur anything. If there are any incidents, we will be available to solve them. For example, if you have any changes on any applications and maybe the integration doesn't work anymore, this will be done on our end and we will support this. There you also have, like mentioned, the service delivery manager and the Okta certified administrators, which help you then keep the operation going. For our Okta managed service offering, we provide you with 3 base packages, which give you an easy entry point for doing an Okta integration with us. We have the standard, enhanced, and premium here. For example, the standard, which is our entry package, which may be suitable if you're trying to get an understanding of Okta and seeing if it's the right solution for you. For this, we will do 1 standard web application as an integration, 1 deployment phase. You will get an additional 20 days of consulting for 1 year. You will also get the full managed service support for your operations for 1 year with an 8x5. And we will, of course, provide you with training sessions. If you need additional applications or integrations, we have the enhanced and premium packages, which also include something like Office 365 or Salesforce integrations, which are a little more extensive than maybe your basic web application. Therefore, we can cover multiple deployment phases. And in case of the premium package, we do even include the 24/7 support for 1 whole year. So with the premium package, you are basically covered completely for 1 year from design, implementation, go live to the support fully from 1 single source. Of course, since those packages may not be a fit for everybody, and you may have different needs or even more applications, these are just our basic go-to packages. If you have maybe an existing Okta installation or you need a more extensive installation, we are very flexible in doing so, and we can pretty much provide you with any service that you may be needing. And with that, that concludes our little excursus on Okta as a managed service. If you need any more information about our managed services in particular, you can contact me or our sales team. And with that, I would say, let's see. Manuela, do we have any questions?
Yeah, thanks for the presentation to both of you. There is a question, is passwordless possible across all devices? Tim, maybe you can answer that one.
Yeah, very good question. So the demo I showed you earlier with the Okta FastPass, that covers passwordless across your Windows device, MacBook, iOS, and Android. But if you have even some other devices such as Chromebook, we can also provide passwordless. That will be possible by configuring the policies in a way that you get, let's say, a push notification on your smartphone that you have to approve. So yes, it's possible across all the devices, even for VPN.
Perfect, thank you. And one more question, how scalable is Okta?
Yeah, so Okta is a cloud native service, and it's very scalable. So we have customers that have hundred thousands of identities, and because Okta is also used for consumer applications, some of them have even millions of applications. Millions of users. So, for instance, the Major Baseball League, when they have a match every several weeks, and the users or the fans signing in for the digital experience, there's even hundred thousands, if not a million, sign in within a very short period. So we cannot only manage the amount of users, but also the amount of signs-ins within a very short period.
Great, thanks a lot. So if any additional questions occur, so just type them in now, or just come back to us after the webinar. And yeah, then we are at the end of this session. And I thank you all for your time and your participation. And yeah, then I hope to see you soon in another webinar, and have a good afternoon or day wherever you are. Thanks, and talk to you soon. Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye, everybody.